I've seen a lot of content online talking about setups and storage systems and solutions for creatives, and they all look amazing, but I think no one really talks about how they got there, or at least showing the whole process, because a lot of the time stuff like this takes time to build, and it's not just about the actual time to purchase certain items. It's more like living through it and understanding what you need or what you don't need. It's like when you go backpacking or hiking for the first time. You probably pack your bag too much or too little. You don't really know what to expect. And so over time, the more you do it, the more you fine tune those little things and you know what you need, what you don't need, what works for you, what doesn't. And so this is the same. And I wanted to share with this video kind of how I got to my current setup, which is by no means perfect, but I think it just shows kind of the progression of how you start, and you might not be able to go with the best or top spec solution at first. And so you got to build it to that. I started my setup with a monitor, and I bought that monitor to be able to have a bigger screen just to edit videos. And the next step to that was another monitor, which was the same monitor again, to basically have the clean feed video on one side and the timeline on the other. And that was really, really good. My next problem was storage. Like everyone doing content, you end up with piles of hard disks, SSDs, and that's what I've always used to edit. But obviously, it gets slow if you use hard drives, and they're not very reliable a lot of times. Although I haven't, cross fingers, had any issues so far apart from one minor scare that I thought everything was gone, but luckily I managed to save it. So I then looked into direct attached storages. I opted with a 2-bay TerraMaster unit, and that worked really well. And the reason I bought it is because I was working on a project that required a lot of data, and so I configured it in RAID 0. So it means there's no redundancy, but it increases a bit the editing speed. So that's what I used. And I had like 28 terabytes and plenty of stuff, and I still had my footage backed up on other hard drives. I quickly realized I wanted to expand that after 3 months, and I ended up purchasing another device, same device, and I configured that in RAID 1. So the idea was I was editing on the first one in RAID 0, and I was using the other one as a backup in a way, and that also had redundancy. The problem with that I realized later was that obviously using 28 terabytes of RAID 0, I would only have half of that in RAID 1, 14 terabytes. So I couldn't back up everything that I had in RAID 0 in the one that I had in RAID 1, which I didn't really care about too much because I had my main projects backed up elsewhere, and that could be done. But then I started shooting a lot of content, and I really needed that space. So I then looked up different solutions, and that's when I finally made the decision to buy a Synology NAS. I have the first TerraMaster direct attached storage with 2 SSDs, and that's where I put all the current projects I'm working on, and I can edit through that directly or download them on my laptop and then work on my laptop if, say, I'm traveling. I then have the other TerraMaster unit with 2 hard drives configured in RAID 1, and that is for redundancy, backup, and for kind of projects that I've worked on. So they migrated from the SSDs to the hard drive. I might still need them, they're fresh, but they're still there if I need them. And that has a layer of backup as well. And then the Synology NAS, that's where I put my cold storage, so all my backups. And I do have a lot of content there, but also a lot of storage now there as well. And I'll explain how everything is connected, because it took me so long to figure out a good way to connect everything and neatly, which is what you see down there now. So let's start with the power AC coming out the wall. It goes straight into a UPS, and that then connects to the Synology NAS for uninterrupted power source, as well as a extension with a bunch of peripherals. So the first one is monitor number 1, and then I have the TerraMaster 1, monitor number 2, and then the TerraMaster 2. Then monitor 1 and TerraMaster 1 are connected with a DisplayPort, as well as monitor 2 and TerraMaster 2. And TerraMaster 1 and 2 are daisy chained. TerraMaster 1 is in RAID 0, TerraMaster 2 is in RAID 1. The speakers are also connected to the extension and are then plugged into a Scarlett Solo audio interface. This is all then plugged in a USB hub, and the Synology is also plugged into this with a 10 gig adapter that then connects all to my laptop. On the other side, there is an AC input, and I connect a extension, and as well as the modem goes through those sockets. The router is connected to the extension, and there's an Ethernet cable between the modem and the router. The extension is also connected to the switch, which then provides a 2.5 gig connection to the USB hub. And the router is then connected to the switch as well. That's the setup I use now, and I've learned a lot from my mistakes, and I wouldn't change anything because I now have the knowledge, and going through those different steps, I understood how these things work a bit better. I hope this could help other people that are looking to get a different setups or storage and they don't know where to start, because I know when I started looking into this, there's so many options, and I think everyone's needs are a bit different and what they do is a bit different, so different things might work. But yeah, hit me up if you have any questions.